Hi everyone, I'm Rachel, your host today. We are back with IWA podcast. IWA, in short, Women for Women Association. Women come together for real talk, personal growth, and peer support. We are a woman-focused community where every woman will be able to lean on each other together and make a difference to the world. Follow us on our respective channels to get regular updates about our community. So welcome back to IWA video podcast. So there is a saying, a picture is worth a thousand words. A complex idea can always be conveyed by a single still picture. And this is truly very fascinating, and we are very honored to have our expert from this field to be here today with us. So a round of applause. Welcome, Wan Jing. Hi, Wan Jing. How are you? So
Hi,
Wan
hello
Jing is
everyone. Hi, I'm Wan Jing. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
So Wan Jing is the co-founder of KnottiesFrame. It's an online wedding photography company. So Wan Jing, when we talk about this wedding photography company, so what's your main role in the company?
Okay, so I'm actually a photographer from KnottiesFrame. I actually co-founded this together with my partner Zach. As the name says it, I actually take a lot of photos. To be in specific, I'm actually a wedding photographer. So often you'll see me running around with my camera gear at weddings. Yeah, and I also do a lot of pre-wedding shoots as well. Yeah, but there are a lot more things that goes on behind the scene where actually is involved in the whole process, from the customer service to the photo shoot itself, post processing of photos, as well as the delivery of photos. Yeah, so I'm kind of like in charge of them all, and that kind of gives you a main gist of what I do in the company. Yeah.
Well, so it's like more of a two-man show over here, doing everything on.
Yeah, correct.
But you get to travel a lot, right? Because I remember seeing you in like Tanzania and like so many different places. So is it true that you get to travel a lot, or most of the time you actually had to spend at home doing editing?
Hmm, that's a very interesting and exciting question. Whether we get to travel or not, it can be true, it can be false. Depends on how you position this. Um, for me, we actually do quite a bit of local and overseas shoots as well. But because I'm a person who loves to travel a lot, and I always imagine of having a job that allows me to work and travel. So, but being a photographer by default doesn't mean that you get to travel all the time. It actually means that you have to create an opportunity that allows you to travel if you want to. Yeah, and that actually means that you have to work on your portfolio. You gotta make sure that it looks good and resonate with your customers. So much so that they are willing to pay for your service and actually have you to shoot their overseas pre-wedding photos. Yeah, and also it boils down to your marketing. Mm, and how you actually showcase your portfolio, your works to your customers, and how you actually announce to your customers that, hey, I'm actually having an overseas pre-wedding package. Yeah. So all this will actually contribute to creating that opportunity that allows you to travel. And also because with that in mind, I've been pushing a lot of overseas trips. And that's why you see in my Instagram, I do post quite a bit of overseas photos. And very thankful to have met a lot of like-minded couples, and together we have been to about close to 8 different countries in about 2 years. Yeah, and
Wow.
including lesser known places like Kazakhstan, Ladakh. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Wow, yeah,
So
definitely something. Yeah.
I mean, we were supposed to shoot overseas today,
Oh,
but
oh.
yeah. So I
Mm,
was just saying like, we were supposed to shoot overseas today.
mm.
Yeah, but because of the pandemic, plans have to be changed. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Mm.
so
Yep.
talking
Yep. Yep.
about like this pandemic, it definitely have influenced the industry very badly. So is it
Mm-hmm.
very bad right now? And how have you been coping with it? Because I do see
Yeah.
like you
So
start rolling out different way to interact with people on Instagram. So how have you been like
mm,
coping with it?
mm. Yeah, it kind of like came without warning. So yes, actually impacted a lot of us. So one aspect is what I've mentioned just now, where we were actually affected in terms of the overseas shoots. Even locally, it is quite badly affected, I would say, because right now a lot of large scale events are not allowed, which means that weddings can't be held at all, and a lot of weddings have been pushed back to a later date. So and we have to think a lot about how to move forward. how to find different ways to engage with our customers, our followers on Instagram, on Facebook, during this period, and also how to think about innovative ways to actually move forward. Yeah. So and also like, you kind of like try new things as well. Traditionally, like photography, you will have to kind of meet face to face to take the photos, right? But right now, this period, a lot of photographers, we are all like exploring different options like virtual photography, where we actually shoot through like a Zoom session or a FaceTime. Yeah, so a lot of people come up with a lot of like creative ways to make sure they can still move forward. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I think one bright side of this
Mm.
pandemic is to force us to be creative, to think out of the box, and to try to
Yeah.
engage. Like just now, when you were telling us about you always have dream um, to have a job that allows you to travel. And we were classmates, so we graduated with a
Mm-hmm.
bachelor in science, and you decided to make a shift
Yeah.
to the photography industry. So what makes you decide that you wanted to start a business instead of like continuing in science?
I feel that right from the start, I didn't set out to be an entrepreneur to begin with. I didn't think of being a photographer right from the start. How I landed myself in bioscience is partly because of my interest, and that's how I ended up in the life sciences course. But along the way, I kind of figured out that this is probably not the industry that I wish to be in as a career. And at the same time, I actually have a very strong hobby in photography. So I used to take a lot of landscape photos when I'm overseas. Yeah, and I'll actually like release the photos on like Facebook back then. We use a lot more Facebook. Yeah, so we'll share more photos on Facebook. And came one day, the pivotal point is when my friend's sister needed a very casual pre-wedding photo. So she asked me, hey, do you think you can actually like help us with the photo shoot? So I tried it out and I found out, hey, this might be something that I'm keen on to become a wedding photographer. Mm. So I started to take more portraits, more weddings. And also because I think part of my personality is that I'm not a person who likes desk down jobs. So actually, and I like to be in control of things too. So naturally, being a photographer and starting this business kind of like become a very obvious direction for me in terms of my career. So yeah, that's how I kind of like end up being the photographer, and it helps me to pursue my strong passion in photography, and at the same time I get to move around as well. Mm.
I'll definitely say that one reason that makes you a very good entrepreneur is also because you are willing to step out of your comfort zone. Because if that opportunity to take photo for your friend's sister this came by, but you feel that it's very uncomfortable and you didn't take on, I think you
Mm.
might not end up as a founder of a company, right? So as we know that there is not so much of a woman founder in other industry, how is it like in photography industry, and what's your struggle as a woman founder in this industry?
Well, I think in this wedding photography scene, traditionally it used to be pretty much male dominated. So being a female wedding photographer, there can be some form of pressure. But I'm actually very, very glad that everyone in this industry, they have been very, very kind, whether it's actually customers, fellow vendors, or even fellow photographers. Yeah. And it's actually very good to know that there is actually a rise in female photographers in the recent years. Yeah. And it's very, very heartening to know that, a lot more female photographers are stepping up to become a wedding photographer despite this being a male dominated industry in the past. It's good in a way as well, because usually female photographers, they are a little bit more um they take care of details. Yeah, and they can relate to brides a little bit better. Yeah. But that being said, there are still struggles being a female wedding photographer. uh the very um obvious one is actually the physical strength. Yeah, because if any of you have been to a wedding, you would have seen a photographer running around with the camera gear, with tons of equipment on their body. Yeah, so as a female photographer, it can be a little bit demanding because of our female physique. But that's fine. I feel like that can be overcome with enough exercise, and you'll get used to it eventually. Mm. And another point that I feel in terms of struggle is that sometimes maybe at weddings, there's a very high chance that you will sometimes meet maybe the elder uncles who might be very proficient in photography. Yeah, then sometimes they might actually give you that doubtful look. They might actually doubt your work. But I feel that that is perfectly fine so long as you're confident, you're firm about what you're doing, yeah, you are confident of your own work. I think that's perfectly fine. Yeah.
So two main criteria to be a successful female photographer:
Mm.
physical strength and be confident. So let's all do
Yeah.
like more workout right now.
Yes.
I remember you had
Do
like
more running.
so many like lenses, different lenses that you have to carry. It must be very like draining after maybe a 2 or 3 hours of
Yeah.
a wedding
Yeah.
photography.
The wedding can actually last for about 8 to 10 hours. Sometimes it drags till about like 13, 14 hours. So imagine like that whole ton of all the camera equipment all on your body for that whole long duration. Yeah, it can be a bit demanding sometimes. But I think if this is what you want and you love doing it, you won't feel like you are working.
Certainly the passion will brings you further, and with this
Mm,
pandemic, we can run more, maybe do more exercise now, and then by the time when the
yes.
whole safe distancing is over, we can see you on a run again for 18 hours. But last but not least, before we go on to our usual three golden question session, do you have any final
Mm,
advice for, especially for women that started out in another
mm.
industry and decided to shift gear to a totally new industry, be it photography industry or some other industry? So what's your like best advice?
I feel that if you are thinking of moving to another industry, that is fine so long as you first must have that mindset that hey, I really want to do this. If you want to move on to another industry and you're very certain and you are passionate about that, by all means, let's give it a try. There must be a fire in your soul that actually push you to want to move on to that industry. Uh, and with that, that gives you the motivation to move on. uh I mean, to be in the reality, it's not like you want to move to another industry, you can move. Surely there are some considerations that you're thinking about. That is why you might be hesitating. It's all right. Nothing comes without obstacles, isn't it? Yeah. So do think about the other factors that might actually hinder you from moving forward. Go through them one by one and think about ways on how you can actually go around these obstacles. But I think more importantly is that you have to dare to dream, dare to take that baby step to move forward. Because if you don't try it, you will never know that you will succeed, isn't it? So my little advice or little suggestion is dare to dream, dare to move forward, take that little baby step, yeah, and be very fearless in the pursuit of what you actually want to achieve. Yeah.
This resonates so well with the title of our series, Dare to Dream. It's like we certainly have to dream, but not being too optimistic about our dream. Like you say, we should like really figure out what are the different obstacles, slow down, and then take baby steps and build this thing up. So that's a very good advice. So that's almost the end. We have one final round. It's a very casual three golden question that we always ask our interviewee. So it's super short, one liner. So
Okay.
be casual. Don't need to worry about it. So are you ready for our three questions?
Okay.
Okay. So the first
As you.
question, the first question is, if the food supply become very limited and you can only choose one food to eat for the rest of your life. So what food would that be?
uh, Chocolate cake.
Yeah, chocolate cake.
I have a sweet tooth, so I have to have like dessert with me. And I love
So,
chocolate, so like yeah, chocolate cakes are the best.
oh, and it's such a good comfort food. Like eating it and just think
Yeah.
about, oh, there is no more food, and then you feel less stress. and then you feel stressed again because there is no
Yeah.
more food, and then you eat less stress.
That might be a good idea.
So the second question
Well
is,
said.
yeah, well, the second question is, if there is a word to describe you, what is the word that best describe you?
That best describe me. Probably a perfectionist. Yeah,
Wow.
perfectionist, I think. I have a very high demand of myself. I do expect the best out of everything. So and I do expect everything to be done well in whatever that I do. So I think really perfectionist might be the word for myself.
If this word comes to you like the first thing in your mind, certainly you are a perfectionist. And I think as a founder, perfectionist is a character that you have to be, right?
Mm.
If you don't do things perfectly or near perfect, there is no way that you can bring your business forward. Okay, the last question. If you only have 24 hours left in the world, what would you do?
24 hours left.
Mm.
I think of course I think if I'm left with 24 hours, surely I have to spend time with my family, definitely. Yeah. I mean this is the last 24 hours of your life, and how you even, like um appear in this world is because of my family. So they're actually the closest people to me. And of course I have to spend the last 24 hours with them as well. And yeah, just yeah, correct.
I think blood is thicker than everything else. So certainly, like family is the most important thing in the world. So to conclude our video podcast,
Indeed.
I think Wan Jing has given us a very good advice that we should dare to dream. But when we dare to dream, we still need to consider different obstacles and think about ways to get around with it, but not to be afraid to get out of our comfort zone, take baby steps, and build a business and slowly an empire. So hopefully this this pandemic is not treating you too badly, and I wish you all the best with the business. And I really look forward to more creative way to produce like visual, like the virtual, long distance
Long distance.
photography. So
Yeah.
if you like what Wan Jing is doing, certainly please follow her on Instagram. And if you like our podcast, please like and subscribe our channel. Look out for the next video. So thank you, Wan Jing, to be here. I'll see you very soon.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much for inviting me on this channel. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Shouting out for IWA. If you want to empower other ladies or yourself, email us at support@iwa.sg. Do stay tuned for our upcoming podcast every week on our respective channels. Like and subscribe our videos. Ciao!